Hello everyone, precision shooting friends. I am making a video from Bergamo, even though the weather feels like being in a tropical storm. As you can see, I am also all wet, excuse me, but during the video I hope to dry off in time. Today, we will talk about the Pugio, which is the smallest weapon in the Victrix catalog. Professional line, compact weapon. You can see two different setups on the table. We have the Pugio Thief in front and the Pugio T in the back. Essentially, it is a weapon created for precision shooting at short and medium distances, and in a single setup as a .308 Winchester caliber. The distances where the Pugio is used range from the classic 100 meters up to the maximum supersonic flight of a .308 caliber pushed through a 16-inch barrel. With the densities, at Italian altitudes we are about 700 meters. The rustling you hear is the tropical storm outside. Back to the Pugio. The weapon favored by military special forces and police special forces. The Italian special forces that use this weapon platform are various, so I will mention two among many. One is the Colmoskin Regiment of the Army, and one is the NOX, which are the special forces of the state police. Let's move on. To the technical part, we have a benchmark barrel. So from the US manufacturer, where it is purchased raw, the modifications are made. A barrel in IC 4016R, an action that is now a classic of Victrix production in 17.4 pH in IC 630 coated in matte PVD. Bolt with 3 asymmetric lugs, also in AEC 630 with a PVD coating, in this case, glossy. The twist rate for the Pugio is 1 in 10. We have a multifunctional and adjustable trigger specifically for both engagement and release weight, adjustment of the trigger lever position, interchangeable cocking lever, and an upper rail made of lightweight alloy inclined at 20 MOA, like the entire upper rail, for mounting night vision systems or aiming systems. On the lower part, we find classic Picatinny rail for mounting the bipod, Picatinny, for mounting tripod support systems, or for the multifunction handle. And a slot that unites some Victrix weapons with an M-lock attachment that is also repeated laterally on the handguard, where it is possible to attach accessories with this type of interface, whether Picatinny or other shooting accessories. Also in this case, as in other Victrix weapons, we have the two holes that serve for the preparation and attachment of a Picatinny rail or a remote control system for aiming systems, completing the setup. In this case is a ROM mount cantilever model for the use of this type of optics. The magazine, in this case in the V series, is a polymer, single stack, single presentation magazine. We have the multi-adjustable buttstock with cheek piece and butt pad in a configuration with quick adjustment, allowing for a rapid and continuous millimeter adjustment of the position of both supports via a lever. The interesting thing is that by rotating it 180 degrees and removing the butt pad, we find the key for inserts, allowing the use of screwdriver or hexagonal inserts. For the regular routine maintenance of the weapons and to find a necessary housing for the inserts in the lower part of the cheek piece, as can be seen in this case. The buttstock features an integrated quick adjust monopod, allowing for a shooting position to be found very quickly and fine adjustment on the target via a threaded knob. The folding is the classic VXX system, which can be opened and closed with one hand. It allows for the safe transport of the weapon in very compact transport systems, and for professionals, possibly even concealed. Imagine. It can easily fit in a sports bag or a gym bag, and we have the capability for shots up to 700, 800 meters. I won't deny that I personally shot at 1,000 meters under obviously suitable environmental conditions, but with a target dispersion of less than a minute of angle. The V series comes standard with a 3-chamber muzzle brake with angled ports to provide the maximum surface area possible to counteract the weapon's recoil. We have a vertical grip that is easily interchangeable with a standard AR-10, which can be easily disassembled via a screw, allowing for the ideal solution with any other grip with a different angle to the AR standard, such as on the table. We also have the brother in the T version, designed for those who do not need a whole series of technical accessory solutions that are mostly required by professionals. I know that each of you feels like a professional in your own way when you go to the shooting range, and probably the greatest satisfaction comes from having the weapon in a configuration similar to that used by the armed forces. For many of you, substance is actually what matters, not appearance, which is what we have professed since the first day of Victrix, where we strive to manifest the difference between being and appearing. We have focused on substance, where from a performance standpoint we are talking roughly about the same capabilities, but with a slightly different setup. We always have a 16-inch barrel, always a 1 in 10 twist rate. In this case, the manufacturer is Otter Walter. It is always a button-rifled barrel. We always have a 3-chamber muzzle brake. Let's say chambers that are not inclined but straight. We have the Landguard, always machined from solid, with a rail machined from solid, inclined at a 20-minute angle, the usual rail for attaching the bipod, and the rail for attaching support systems and carrying handles, which can also be purchased later on our website, www.rawtini.it. In the shop section, where you can find all the accessories to customize your weapon, your Victrix, as you wish. Unlike the V series, we have a double-stack magazine with a 10-round capacity, and we have a bolt with 6 lugs instead of 3, like the V series, machined through turning and grinding. We have 6 symmetrical lugs of the same diameter as the stem. The action also remains a 17.4 pH, always coated with a surface treatment, in this case a DLC, the diamond-like carbon, with a rail entirely machined from solid, also inclined at 20 minutes of angle. The feature that distinguishes the two versions, in addition to what I mentioned from a technical standpoint regarding the barrel and action, is the folding mechanism, which has multiple adjustable settings. This allows us to adjust the height of the cheek piece, the depth of the butt pad, and also vertically through quick adjustments. The folding system is common to both weapons, but differentiates one version from the other. In this case, we have a classic slightly inclined grip instead of the vertical grip from the V series. Let me share an anecdote that is somewhat the birth of the Pugio. Right at the beginning of Victrix's history, the first tactical weapon to be conceived and designed was the Gladio, which at the time was called Gladius, in a 26-inch configuration, where there had been a request for a more compact version on an experimental basis from a foreign armed force. Initially, it had been conceived as a 22-inch model, which is still currently in the catalog. In fact, in the Gladius, and currently in the Gladio and Scorpio, we have the two versions of 26 and 22 inches. We observed that the performance between the 26-inch solution and the 22-inch solution were actually very similar, if not equivalent. Therefore, we were asked to have an even more compact solution while trying to maintain the maximum ballistic performance in terms of predictability and repeatability on the target. We then thought of creating one of the most compact weapons on the market at that time, identifying 16 inches as the ideal length to achieve a good compromise from a ballistic point of view, such as V0, muzzle velocity, and gyroscopic stabilization factor, choosing both the length and the twist rate. As you all know, the static gyroscopic stabilization factor is directly proportional to the muzzle velocity and the twist rate. The choice fell on a length of 16 inches with a 1 in 10 twist. You might be wondering what the curious anecdote is. The curious anecdote is that at the time of delivery, and just before the delivery, for the transport of the weapon to the final customer, I took my usual suitcase, convinced that the weapon there were 2 or 3 centimeters missing and the suitcase wouldn't close. By now, thinking of getting a new suitcase in a few hours because I was ready to leave was practically impossible, but a solution had to be found. The ancient amphora had to be saved. The only means we had was to shorten the barrel, which was necessary to fit it in the suitcase, so much so that from 16 inches it magically became 15.5 inches. In fact, in the first Victrix catalog from 2015, you can probably still find technical sheets online where you will see it was 15.5 inches. Today we have the suitcases, we had them made, so it has returned to being as it originally was, 16 inches. I leave you with this anecdote thinking about your next weapon, obviously Victrix, and we'll see you at the next presentation.